we can now do before start checklist. Captain will challenge the checklist. First officer will read, and both will respond. Captain shall call ground crew on flight interphone.
Confirm all doors closed, area clear, starting sequence will be 2-1. Interrupt the start in case of any abnormality.
And ground, cockpit.
Go ahead, Captain.
We're all set to go up here. We've been cleared to push and start at your discretion.
Roger that, ready for push. Power and air are clear, doors closed. We are ready for pushback. Release parking brake, please.
Okay, parking brake is off, cleared to push.
Brakes off, here we go.
Start sequence will be 2-1. Start engine number 2.
Let's start the engines as we push back. Air conditioning pack switches off. Start pressure 40 psi. Minimum start pressure at sea level is 30 psi, which decreases by 0.5 psi for each 1,000 feet above sea level. Engine start switch, ground. Start chronograph to monitor starter time limitation, which is 2 minutes. Observe start valve open light and then call. Start valve open. When N1 rotation is confirmed and N2 is at max motoring, the captain will position start lever to idle and start chronograph to ensure EGT rises within 10 seconds. N2 must be within 20 to 25%. Max motoring occurs when N2 acceleration is less than 1% in 5 seconds. If the engine start switch fails to stay in the ground position, engine start lever cut off, and do the engine aborted start checklist. At 46% N2, verify engine start switch automatically trips to off. If it does not, manually position to off. Check increase in duct pressure. When start valve open light extinguishes, call. Starter cutout valve closed. Captain shall call stabilized once engine parameters are stable.
Stabilized.
First officer shall call values when EGT has peaked up.
N1 22%, EGT 475 to 650 Celsius, N2 60%, fuel flow 326 kilograms per hour.
Now here is an example of engine start calls while starting engine number 1.
Start engine number 1.
Starting engine number 1. Start valve open. Starter cutout, valve closed.
Stabilized.
Push is complete. Set parking brake, please.
Alright, brakes are set and pressure's normal.
Ground crew, remove nose wheel steering lockout pins, display them on the left.
Okay, sir, tow bar is off, pin is out, watch for the pin on the right.
Generator 1 and 2 voltage, checked. Generators 1 and 2, on. Hydrostatic heat, on. Wing and engine anti-ice, off.
Now that the pushback is complete, we can turn on all the hydraulic pumps.
Packs, auto. Isolation valve, auto. A PU bleed, off. Flight ground switch, flight. Auxiliary power unit, off. Engine start switches, continuous.
Make sure E&E compartment door is closed before pressurizing the cabin.
Engine start levers, idle détente. Verify ground equipment is clear. Flap lever, set for takeoff. Verify green flap light is illuminated. Flight controls, check.
Verify freedom of movement and that controls and rudder return to center.
Recall. Check.
Chaklala Tower, Pakistan 308 Abeam Stand 9er, request taxi instructions. Ground crew, remove all connections and hand signal on the left.
Roger that. Have a good flight.
Before taxi checklist, captain will call. First officer will raid. Both will respond.
Taxi and inboard landing lights on. Runway turn off, as needed.
Left clear.
Right clear. Yaw damper indicator, checked. Enter backtrack line up runway 30, Pakistan 308.
Approach runway clear my side.
Approach runway clear my side. Taxi lights, off. Strobe lights, on. Exterior landing lights, on. Runway turn off lights, on. Cabin crew take your stations for takeoff. Wind copied. Cleared takeoff 30 right hand out. Pakistan 308.
Transponder,
Note, Samantha is pilot flying in this sector, so she will challenge the before takeoff checklist after the clearance has been obtained. Before takeoff checklist please.
Cabin safety announcement.
Completed.
Takeoff announcement.
Completed.
Flaps.
5. Green light.
Transponder.
On.
Stabilizer trim.
4.5 units.
Before takeoff checklist complete. Compasses check runway heading.
Compasses check runway heading. Takeoff.
And then pilot flying will advance thrust levers to 40%. Pilot monitoring should ensure thrust levers advance to takeoff N1 and observe mode enunciation. In case of extreme headwind, the thrust levers may not advance to full N1. In this case, manually adjust thrust levers by 60 knots. Pilot flying shall verify mode enunciation and call.
N1 Toga.
Pilot monitoring shall verify auto throttle mode enunciation change to throttle hold and call by 64 to 84 knots.
Throttle hold.
Here is an example of a takeoff.
Compasses check runway heading.
Compasses check runway heading. Takeoff. Set takeoff thrust. N1 Toga.
Takeoff thrust set. Throttle hold. 80 knots.
Check.
V1. Rotate.
Pause to wait.
Gears up.
V2 plus 15. Here is up, no light. 400 feet.
Heading select.
Heading select. Acceleration altitude.
Set climb thrust. Speed to 10 to 20 knots. LNAV.
LNAP.
Flaps up.
Flaps up, no light. Speed, 210 knots set. Over to radar 124.9 Al Hafiz, Pakistan 308.